that imposter syndrome hits ADHD entrepreneurs disproportionately hard? Here's why that happens and what to do about it. So let's talk about what is imposter syndrome just real quick. So imposter syndrome is thoughts and feelings that you are a fraud or not as competent as perceived. This might look like your wins getting downplayed or chalked up to external circumstances, but losses get blamed entirely on your own inadequacies. And I think it's important to understand that because of how our brains function as individuals with ADHD, we get stuck in this default mode network more often than not. Now, default mode network is this place when my brain is kind of going in 100 different directions. The whole brain is lit up. All of my brain is like, everything is happening. And the problem with default mode network is that all the brain is lit up. And so there's a lot of chatter going on all at once, which is how we end up with so many individuals with ADHD who deal with both depression and anxiety, because the brain won't stop talking about all the things that can go wrong. And that's just depressing. And one of the easiest things for default mode network to get stuck fixating on is ourselves. We live and breathe with ourselves all the time. We are always with ourselves. The problem is that our brains are also predisposed to look for the bad. This is because in, caveman days, the bad stuff would kill us. Like, that flower working, that's great. Like, it didn't do anything. I'm not necessarily going to remember that. But the, tiger at the side of the trail, that's bad. That could kill me. And so our brains are predisposed to look for the bad things because they could be life-threatening, which often can lead to a brain that is overactive and focused on not the best things. So what do we do about it? Most important is to recognize that you are not the only person dealing this. We recently released a song called Fly, An Entrepreneur's Journey, and it really is all about the entrepreneur's journey. And there's this one line inside the song that I think really perfectly encapsulates this, where it goes, but walking through the door, they don't see my fears, and somehow I've still got their trust. And we can write that line because we've been there. Everyone is dealing with it. Everyone is hiding it. Trust me. So once you've recognized that, okay, everyone's dealing with this, that's great, Steph, still doesn't help me actually deal with it. So the next step is actually just keep following the lyrics and Fly. So if you haven't actually gone and watched the music video or looked at the lyrics video, I highly recommend it. It's on this same channel. But the next line in the lyrics is literally just, single step, then one more, no regrets, gotta soar. No more room for these waves of doubt. See, the thing is, when we're taking steps forward, there is less room for that doubt to become overwhelming. And all you have to do is a single step, and then one more, and then one more. One of the best ways to silence imposter syndrome is just to start actually getting things done, start accomplishing things, and they can be small because momentum builds. You don't have to move the boulder. You just have to start getting the stick underneath the boulder so that you can create leverage to make the boulder move. You don't have to move the boulder today. You just have to go find the stick. You can start by focusing on one step and then the next and then the next, knowing that momentum builds and knowing that accomplishments start to shut up that imposter syndrome voice because it has no more room to keep yelling at you. And probably most important out of these 3 steps is start a wins or a success journal. You should have a journal that you're writing in at least once a week, if not daily, where you jot down your top 3 wins for the day, your top 3 successes, the things you're most proud of. And don't let the voice in your head start discounting them. When you write down, hey, we got this, and the voice goes, well, yeah, but celebrate the win. It's okay, because what you focus on expands. If you're focused on the wins, you're focused on one step and then the next, trust me, you start moving faster and faster than that imposter syndrome can keep up with. One of the most powerful things I ever heard about imposter syndrome is that the only people who can have imposter syndrome are the people who are good enough. If you have some wins under your belt and you're still doubting yourself, you probably are good enough. You're doing more than you know. Get around some people who will support you, who see the greatness in you, who draw you forward, who inspire you, who energize you. Because trust me, when it comes to beating imposter syndrome, that's the last step to making sure you're poised to do the incredible things that you are capable of doing in the world around you. Have you ever noticed Have you ever noticed that ADHD entrepreneurs ever noticed that oh my god. ADHD entrepreneurs disproportionately hard? Well, here's what to do about it. God. Have you ever noticed that imposter syndrome hits oh my god, why do these words keep getting stuck? Fraud or not as competent as perceived. No.